Welcome to this Prepare for IELTS video in which we are going through an IELTS Writing Task 2 question on the topic of education. It's a discussion plus opinion question. Let's take a look. Some people consider online study courses better than classroom studies, while others think classroom study is better. Discuss both views and give your opinion. We're going to start by going through some of the great language you can use in our model answer. We're starting with innovations, and these are new ideas, methods, or ways of doing things. You might know the adjective innovative. The present perfect is a great sign that your grammar is good, and the IELTS examiner is much more likely to give you a high grade for grammar if you use the present perfect correctly. And you can see here a couple of examples. There has been and also has become, where we're using the present perfect to refer to things which definitely happened in the past. So definitely it was in the past that there was a surge in the popularity of internet-based learning. Definitely in the past it became possible to study anything online, but we're not really interested when in the past. We're interested that it happened at some point and that now these things are still true. So the present perfect is the best tense to use. Unquestionably means certainly, definitely, without any doubt. And you can see that we can often put adverbs like unquestionably in the middle of a present perfect, so before the main verb. And putting adverbs either right at the beginning of a sentence, right at the end of a sentence, or just before the main verb is very common. A surge is a sudden and large increase. There is also the verb to surge, and we can use the structure anything from to indicate a wide range of options or possibilities, or to show that many possibilities are included. So here, anything from juggling to meteorology means practically all things are possible. And we can use either or to refer to two options when only one option is possible and both options are not possible. So here, either at college or from the comfort of your own home. Only one of these things can be true. Here we have a strong thesis statement. So this is the statement at the end of the introduction, which in some essays gives your opinion and in some essays gives your plan. And it's very strong because it refers to the main ideas in the three main body paragraphs. So those paragraphs in the main body are about the personality and personal circumstances of the student and the level of difficulty of the course. So linking your thesis statement very strongly to the main body is always a strength. And we often use personal circumstances to refer to aspects of a person's life, like whether they work, whether they are in a relationship, or have children. This is a participle clause, so we're using a past participle, undertaken, from the verb to undertake, and this is used because the meaning is passive. So this is the course which is being undertaken by the student. So we could write the course which is being undertaken, but complex and formal grammar is much better to use, and just using the participle undertaken here does seem more complex and certainly more formal. And just in case you were wondering, the verb to undertake means to do or begin to do something which will probably take a long time and be difficult. It's a serious undertaking. Moving on to the first main body paragraph, and it's very good to learn which phrases can be followed by a that clause. If you've seen some of these videos, you'll know I'm a big fan of that clauses. And here, the phrase, there is little doubt that, and then you can put a clause after that. This can really make your writing formal and complex very quickly and will impress the examiner. So just learning the phrases that you can put before that, there are many, many, many of them, and including them in your essay can really get you a lot of credit. Extroverts are sociable people who enjoy spending lots of time with others, and introverts are people who may prefer to spend quite a lot of time on their own instead of with other people. It's good to learn opposites, particularly when they have the same root or same part of the word. And to thrive means to become very successful, to grow or develop. If you do something in solitude, so for example, you can work in solitude or you can study in solitude, you do it alone and without other people. We can connect two clauses with a semicolon. So semicolon is this punctuation with a dot and a dash, so after the word essential, the one in purple. And we do this when there's a strong link between the two clauses or sentences, and that's often because they share a subject or a structure or some language. So you can see here, for some, being able to raise their hand in the classroom is essential. For others, and then you get the rest of the sentence. So particularly the contrast between these two clauses and the fact that one begins for some and the other begins for others, this makes these two clauses, these two ideas, very strongly connected, and using a semicolon instead of a full stop is a good idea. To determine means to influence something directly or to decide what will happen, and you can fully determine something or you can partly determine. And we can follow those with a participle clause to refer to particular groups of people. So those bringing up children or families, those living in larger communities. So we can use this with a participle. And to arise means to start to happen or to start to exist. So an opportunity can arise. It suddenly appears. Your schedule is a list of planned activities, including information about when and where you might do these things. You might have a demanding schedule or a busy schedule. And to manage to do something means to be able to do something successfully, even though it's difficult or requires lots of effort. So we also have the verb to succeed in doing something. But when you use to manage to do something, the focus is on the fact that it was difficult, and even though it was difficult, you succeeded. This is a formal phrase, educational establishments, which refers to places of learning such as schools and universities. Always good to know formal phrases because you can impress the examiner with them. And it is possible to include examples from your personal life, especially if you cannot think of other ways to support your point. So I'm not saying this is a major strength, but writing this, which looks like a personal example, is certainly better than nothing. And it should not be your first choice, but if you are really stuck for things to write, then include a personal example like this. Keep it as short as you really can. An octogenarian is a person in their 80s, very useful phrase. And to exemplify means to be a good example of something. If you have time on your hands, or if you have time to spare, then you do not have many commitments and so have plenty of free time. This is a bit idiomatic, but it's absolutely fine in an IELTS essay. Complexity is the state of having many parts and being difficult to understand. So you might know the word complex. And if something is challenging, it's difficult to do and requires lots of effort. It is a major challenge. We can use likewise and similarly to begin new sentences which have the same purpose or meaning as the previous sentence, or new sentences which support the previous sentence. So here we have one sentence in blue, and the sentence after likewise, which has appeared now, supports this. It supports the same ideas and arguments. We can often use participle clauses to replace relative clauses such as which require. So here we could write subjects which require social interaction, but we can replace that with an ing form, with a participle, and it's more formal. If something lends itself to another thing, to something else, it is suitable for that thing or purpose, or can be thought about in that way. And the adjective would be describes a person who is wanting or trying to be something. So in the world there are many would-be novelists and probably a lot of would-be actors. This sentence is useful when we want to indicate that one simple overall comment cannot really answer the question. So this is a sentence that you can drop into a conclusion if you find the question very difficult to reach a simple answer to. And we can often use participle clauses, as we've said before, to replace relative clauses such as who is contemplating in this case. So we could write everyone who is contemplating study, but everyone contemplating study seems more formal. And to contemplate means to spend time seriously considering or thinking about something, such as a possible future action. If something is rewarding, then doing it makes you feel satisfied or happy because you have done something important or useful. You may know the noun and verb reward. Here is the model answer in full. You can see it has 3 main paragraphs. This gives us extra width of argument, but of course we lose something in depth here. Good idea to read through this carefully now that you're aware of some of the great language that's in there, and when you're ready, it will be time for our quiz. Multiple choice, A, B, C, or D. If you are something moving to another country, plan and prepare as much as possible before you go. What word can we put in there? The answer is, of course, contemplating. You're thinking about something. You're giving it serious consideration. Incidentally, if you wanted to say hoping, if you are hoping, you would be hoping to move. If you are thinking, you would be thinking about moving. Next question. What name can we give to sociable people who enjoy spending lots of time with others? And these people are, of course, well, they're not introverts, they are, of course, extroverts. They like going to a party or meeting friends. Next one, students who something very difficult study programs usually feel a great deal of stress. So what verb do we need to put in there? And it is undertake. So if you undertake a difficult study program, you start it, you decide to do it. New ideas, methods, or ways of doing things can be called, this was our very first slide, hope you remember it, it seems a long time ago, innovations. And lots of older people have time on their something and would really enjoy the opportunity to study at college. Where do they have this time? Well, it's not on their head, it's not on their feet, and it's not even on their wrists, it's on their hands. They have time on their hands. Next question. Thanks to technological innovations, there has something been a surge in the popularity of internet-based learning. We need an adverb here, and the correct adverb is unquestionably, certainly, without doubt, definitely. Well, we hope that you unquestionably enjoyed our video and benefited from it. We recommend that you watch the other videos in this section because they should all help you to really understand this topic and prepare for questions on it. And we look forward to seeing you again really soon, and thank you for watching.